Okay, so our current starting lineup will be Andrew Wiggins at point guard. I don't expect him to be a great playmaker, but I am hoping that being in that role will keep him engaged on both ends. I expect 15, 5, and 5 from him this year. At the 2, we have Josh Okogie. Unlike most T-Wolves fans, I don't see a lot in this guy. He seems like the next Andre Roberson to me, but with a little bit better shooting. If he can become at least a league average 3-point shooter, he will be a very valuable 3-and-D guy because he is a phenomenal defensive player. At the 3, we have Robert Covington as an NBA nerd. Roko can do no wrong in my eyes, the perfect 3-and-D role player. At power forward, we have Noah Vonleh, who I think is very underrated. He is a good defender, shooter, and post scorer. He is basically like a really poor man's Al Horford. And for center, we obviously have Karl Anthony Towns. Cat is so good on offense sometimes that it is kind of stupid. Posting up, shooting off the dribble, shooting threes, dribbling the ball, hell, even passing. There's really nothing that Cat can do wrong on offense. Defense is his issue, but he has been improving in that area, and I think he can become an okay defender, and with how good he is on offense, I am perfectly fine with that. Now off of the bench, we have Jeff Teague. Jeff might be the most whatever player in the NBA, but he'll be fine as a 6-man for now. At the backup 2, we have Jarret Culver. I think a good comparison for Culver is Andre Iguodala. He isn't necessarily the athlete Iggy was, but he is pretty much everything else. He can shoot, but not that well. He can score, but not that well. He is an above average playmaker for his position, and he is a really good defensive player. I'm hoping he can be a source of offense off of the bench this season and develop into a star in the future. At small forward, we have Jake Layman, who is a shooter. That's about it. At power forward, we have Jordan Bell, who I do not like. That's about it. And for the backup center, we have Gorgui Dieng, who is kind of like Vonleh, being a player who is alright at about everything, but we will be talking a bit more about him later. But with all of that laid out, let's go on to the first game of this season. Okay, so now that we are past the scripted part of this video and going on to some live commentary, I have a couple of issues with 2K20 and I'm actually pretty damn disappointed with the game so far. If you saw the description of the last episode, the first thing that I said in the description was this game is not good. And I don't like a lot of the movement, particularly the stop and go, I believe, was a little cheesy or hard to figure out, at least on my end. And then on defense, or on offense rather, it was way too easy to score. And I'm not just talking about this game, because I did play some other games. I played some My Career. It just felt like I was playing on the highest difficulty in this game after the first 5 minutes because it was so damn easy to score. I understand that it is the Charlotte Hornets, but this was getting way out of hand how easy it was to score. Our team is not that great offensively, but yet we were getting bucket after bucket. Andrew Wiggins drives inside on Jamal Crawford, who is on this team for some reason, but he kicks it right out to Robert Covington after the miss, and we force the Hornets to call a timeout. Roko gets the steal, gets it up to Josh Okogie. He throws the lob up to Andrew Wiggins. Really nice fast break sequence there. Nick Batum is going inside, and here is some of the stop and go cheese I was talking about. We had him completely doubled, and he just gets a burst of speed out of that situation to go right to the basket. And I noticed that a few other times in the game. Culver gets the first basket of his career, but actually that's not true because the first game of the season was against the Brooklyn Nets. I just didn't want to play against Kyrie and KD in my first game because I have injuries turned off. Karl Anthony Towns with the really nice lob right there. Great pass by Jeff Teague. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We absolutely destroyed the Charlotte Hornets in this game. I believe we end up winning by 40 points, so we're really just going to use this as a way of showcasing our team's offense. In no way is it reflective of our defense, even though I don't think we have a bad defense with Okogie and Covington and Noah Vonleh in the starting lineup, but Miles Bridges with the layup right there. The Charlotte Hornets were terrible offensively and then defensively as well. I think this was more a problem with 2K in general. It was just way too easy to score. Easy layup right there with Culver out of the pick and roll. I also had a problem with pick and rolls as well. They either felt like they were too, they didn't connect, you didn't actually get any contact, or they just felt like, I don't really know how to describe it. You'd really have to play the game to understand it. I decided to leave this play in the highlights just to show like just how terrible the Hornets offense was. I do not envy Hornets fans for what they're going to have to watch next season. Noah Vonleh gets the really nice block right there, and then once again an alley-oop to Andrew Wiggins from Josh Okogie. Running the fast break is going to be really fun with this team, as in the starting lineup we really have 4 guys who are all very capable lob targets. Karl-Anthony Towns going the full length of the court. This is something that I really like doing with him. I play with this team a lot in 2K19, specifically with this MyGM mode with what I have planned out for the future. And Karl-Anthony Towns getting it off of the rebound and just pushing it was a really effective play. He missed his first play, but obviously got the and one right there. And even when the Hornets were scoring, it was in really ugly ways. A fadeaway jumper from Bismack Biyombo with a guard on him. Just absolutely ugly offense. We get Karl-Anthony Towns on the pick and fade right here. Gets wide open for 3 and he knocks that down. Andrew Wiggins is working really well as a point guard so far. Jamal Crawford was like first in shot attempts for this team, even though he's like 450 years old or something like that. So the Hornets offense was just pitiful. Wiggins gets the nice drop step layup right there. Towns in the post down low on Bismack Biyombo. Gets the fader to go right here from the free throw line. We are now up by 27 points, make it 25 after Jamal Crawford greens that mid-range jump shot right there. For the final play of the half, unfortunately a long 2 by Karl-Anthony Towns, but it does drop. And at halftime, look at this, 70% from the field for us, 24% from the field for the Charlotte Hornets. I promise you we are not that good, but I do think there's a good chance the Hornets are that bad. Karl-Anthony Towns with a nice dunk right there. The Hornets finally score once again with Hernan Gomez getting that long left-handed hook shot to go. This game was just way too easy, and this was my first time playing 2K. And the next game that we have coming up that I already recorded, it's a lot closer than this. Culver gets a wide open 3-point shot. When I played with the created by a fan guy in 2K19, with the roster and everything like that, it was really hard to score with Culver. I found it pretty easy to score with the 2K version. And when I hit that shot by Karl-Anthony Towns, that's when I finally put it on Hall of Fame difficulty. I realized I said at the start of this that I did it 5 minutes in, but apparently that was a lie because I forgot about this part of the mix of the gameplay. Cody Zeller getting stripped by Jake Layman. Nice to see a fellow Jacob in the NBA. Culver gets the lob right there from Jeff Teague. And then Bridges goes inside, misses that short little jump shot. Gorgie Jang with the rebound. Wiggins, I wanted to throw this lob to Okogie, but he decided he was going to stick in the corner. Luckily, he does hit this 3-pointer over Cody Zeller, which I really did not expect him to hit, but it goes in. Wiggins doing a great job as a point guard, like I said earlier. End of the third quarter with Jamal Crawford missing that long 3. And then look how slow Malik Monk was on that move. PJ Washington with the putback, but I feel like 2K overdid the speed difference with stop and go in an attempt to make it seem more drastic, but it just made the slow too slow and the fast too fast, in my opinion. The guy with the bun, who was pretty good in college basketball from the one game that I saw him play, he makes that layup right there. Culver getting inside past Dwayne Bacon, but gets it down to Dang. For what it's worth, I have really been enjoying my career. That's really the only mode or really anything about this game that I can say has drastically improved. My career story is actually somewhat solid, though I find it weird how your student advisor, who is also, as Dom2K has pointed out, overly attractive. Nice steal by Wiggins and the lob to Towns, playing defense, which I like to see. I find it odd that she has an apartment that is like something that a millionaire would have, even though she is just a school advisor. It is pretty ridiculous, but yeah, that's how you can tell. Oh my god, the block by Wiggins. I forgot about that. Nice block on PJ Washington, but talking about my career is a pretty good sign that I really have nothing left to say for this commentary. Wiggins makes that free throw line jumper. Dwayne Bacon didn't play till garbage time, which is how I know 2K doesn't know shit about the game. They end the fourth quarter with Martin hitting a layup that does not count, and we beat the Charlotte Hornets by 33. It was a pretty damn easy win. Karl-Anthony Towns with 30 points. Wiggins with 18 points, 9 assists, 3 blocks, and a steal on 75% from the field did exactly what I want him to do. Don't expect him to get 9 assists often, and I also don't expect him to shoot 75% from the field often, but he did do well. Culver with 15 points on good shooting in his debut, and Okogie also had a pretty damn good game. So overall, great first game of the season, although it's technically the second, and let's move on to trade talks. Okay, so I am not a fan of Bell as the backup 4, nor do I really like Vonleh as the starting power forward. I also struggled with some spacing at times with Vonleh and Okogie both on the perimeter. Wiggins isn't exactly knocked down either. Vonleh and Okogie aren't terrible shooters, but they also are not particularly good. Basically, I'm in need of a starting power forward who can shoot and play some defense, because I don't want to sacrifice defense with taking Vonleh out of the lineup. Because any power forward next to Cat needs to be a defensive player to make up for some of his deficiencies, and the guy that I am looking at, ironically enough, we just played against. Marvin Williams from the Charlotte Hornets. Marvin can hit the 3 ball, and he is a solid all-around defensive player. He makes $15 million, but luckily it's just a 1-year deal, so we don't have to deal with his money next season. We can bring him back to a more team-friendly deal for like $6 million a year. Now the guy that I am trading is Gorgui Dieng. Even though I like Dieng somewhat as a player, unlike Marvin Williams, while he is making $15 million a year this season, he also has $17 million next season. So trading him for Marvin gives us both a starting 4 who helps this team's spacing and improves depth, and it frees up cap space for this upcoming offseason. In return for taking on this salary, I am giving the Hornets a 2022 top 10 protected first round pick, taking on a year of a bad contract in exchange for a pick, a trade that is fairly common to see a rebuilding team like the Hornets make. Cap space, depth, spacing, and defense, a great trade for us and for the Hornets. They get a first round pick that is more than likely to materialize, and our backup center will now be Jordan Bell, whose spacing problems aren't as bad at the center position, and Vonleh can shoot a little bit, so the spacing won't be totally garbage with both of them on the floor. Now, as for why I am trying to clear up cap space, it's very simple. It is part of my master plan for the next offseason, which is something that we will be discussing in the next episode. Should be a fun one.